When hope is gone, undo this lock and send me forth on a moonlit walk. Release restraint level 0. Hey kids, wanna see a dead body?
Hey guys, this is Devoid of the Ravenclaw. Welcome back to another fanfiction story. If you like this type of content, smash the like button and subscribe for future updates that I do post on my community tab frequently. As we start our story off on a planet called Gaia, that's the location. It's located on the outskirts of the Milky Way galaxy. The habits of this planet is quite similar to the planet called Earth. They have some similarities to the human race. Basically, My Hero Academia is on another planet, just to give you, a brief rundown how this is going to work. They might have the same name for a country, several countries, but they're completely different than the Earth. How they progress their civilization. As you can see, a 18-year-old Izuku in his office, surrounded by intruders from the safety committee. Izuku is the CEO and founder of Midoriya Enterprise, a genetic tech company that dabbles in genetics and technology to make impressive support gear and other inventions that catches his eye. Judging by your uniforms, you must belong to the safety committee. Should have agreed to the proposal from the safety committee. If you had, you wouldn't have had to die. You're too much of a threat to be let unchecked. The safety committee condemns you to death. You're not wrong there. I'm indeed a threat, but you have no idea how much of a threat I really am. The armed assassins all aimed their rifles at Izuku, who's currently sitting behind his desk. Then they immediately open fire, but they're shocked by the shock, and they clearly failed on hitting their target. As you can see, Izuku right behind them, with his back facing theirs. What the hell? How can he move so fast? Open fire! Izuku began catching the bullets from their guns when he jumped backwards as he released the bullets from his hand that gently fell to the ground. My turn. Electric chain lightning. As a burst of electricity shot out of Izuku and hit all of the assassins all at once, killing almost all of them, only leaving one alive. Izuku grabbed the remaining live assassin by the face and hanged him out of the building by slamming his head into the glass as it shatters as he hangs up on the ledge of the window. You safety committee lots are so persistent. You most likely thought you would kill me and take what I've worked so hard to gain. But no matter. As we speak, my mainframe is being erased. I won't have my technology, you bastards' hands. You safety committee would do more harm than good. as he tightened his grip onto the safety committee's face, squeezing it as the man grunt in pain, as he began to scream a little bit. Safety committee are going to be a problem. You're going to give your masters a little message. Unfortunately for you, dog, you don't need to be alive to deliver such message. Hope you know how to fly. As Izuku let go of the man as the man fell to his death, hitting the street below, Izuku fixed his suit. It's a shame, really. I was hoping this ploy would last longer. Izuku took out his phone out of his pocket of his suit and dialed a number. Hello, Mother. Sorry to interrupt you, but it's happening sooner than I originally suspected. Sneaky little bastards. They sure acted fast. Don't worry, preparations are already in place. I'll finish up things here, then I'll meet you back at the laboratory. Inko has a nameless pro hero floating up in the air with her telekinesis while she's talking to her beloved son, and snapped the man's neck as he fell limpless to the ground dead. As we cut to Izuku, after activating the EMP charge on a set timer on it, after all the MP goes off, when the MP goes off, that will trigger the plasma bomb to go off as well, destroying any evidence left behind that the EMP did not destroy. Izuku is calmly walking his way out of the building as several pro heroes begin to head towards his direction the moment he exits the building by going through an elevator, going to the main floor of the lobby, and walked out. All of his employees were all set on a vacation with a full paid severance. The first hero Izuku saw was Ryugu. Izuku Midoriya, you are hereby under arrest. Surrender. We are fully aware Izuku Midoriya is the villain called Deku, as they are one and the same. I might not like where the information came from, but that doesn't change the fact that we have solid proof that connects you to several crimes. But I hope you do resist. It's a lot more fun when they resist. Ryugu just sighed, seeing her friend being herself. Stand back, he belongs to me. Ryugu saw the look in her friend's eyes, so she backed off. She knows full well she won't be able to change Miruko's mind when she gets like this. It's best to allow her to indulge herself. She's always been a fighter. She was a fighter when she was a vigilante, and she clearly hasn't lost any bit of her instincts, her fighting instincts. She could see the spark in her eyes, and that same spark never lessened when she became a pro hero. Must be referring to the safety committee. They have been a bit busy. Recent. There's no reason to continue this ploy. You are indeed right. I am Deku. I'll indulge you, my little white rabbit. Come and get some. Miruko had a massive grin on her face and bolted forward as she threw out a kick, expecting her foot to make contact with the villain. She expected to see the villain go flying, only to see the very same villain caught her kick with one hand as her eyes slightly widen from the display. She's not used to people catching her kicks. When Izuku caught her foot, he immediately slammed his fist into her stomach, making her go flying backwards as she's rolling around the street, skidding across the street like a rag doll. Izuku came from a family of villains, so it was only natural that he became a villain. But he knew his quirk was powerful, as destructive as his element manipulation can be. He knew he needs something else in his arsenal. When he learned about these rumors about these creatures called Nomu, that some crazy doctor was creating, from a couple of his experiments escaping the laboratory. But with his connections, he was informed and set up a meeting with the crazy doctor and studied under him. As he worked with the doctor for a few years, the crazy doctor took a liking to Izuku, so he learned quite a bit about his bioweapons. Once he learned everything he needed, he modified his body. He learned from the crazy doctor that's under the ploy of some hotshot villain named All For One. Pretty much a boogeyman when it comes to villains in the criminal underworld. He's never met the villain or the League of Villains that he's apparently the boss of. It's still hush hush. They haven't had their debut to reveal themselves yet to the world. They've been laying low in the shadows, gathering strength and resources. Izuku's strength, speed, and durability is off the charts. By turning himself into a hybrid Nomu, I'm quite curious why you're not helping your fellow hero, pro hero Ryugu. According to the intel I got, you two are pretty much almost like sisters. You seem to be very close. The cross villain. We'll stop you. I'm just allowing my partner to have some fun. Don't count her out yet, Deku, from that little love tap you gave her. It's going to take a lot more to take down Mirko. You only did one thing. You made her more excited to fight you. Izuku turned his head away from Ryugu. Mirko appeared on all fours, right in front of Deku. Jump up and kneed him in the face, then followed up with a spin kick, launching Deku into several buildings. Deku stopped his momentum by manipulating the air around him as he gently touched down to the ground, as he hovered slightly, then immediately bolted forward towards the two heroes, most specifically Mirko. I don't know why. Yeah, I'm having a hard time speaking right now, but anyways, let's continue forward. Mirko, on the other hand, was expecting such behavior and met him halfway as they began to clash. As the hero villain begin to battle in a deadly hand-to-hand combat, as Mirko is clearly enjoying herself by the massive smile on her face that looks almost psychotic. She wasn't expecting this villain to be so much fun. He was even able to withstand one of her kicks, and that feat of his own is something that doesn't happen very often. So, shoot her. She's having fun. She could probably easily get serious, but she's enjoying herself too much. Huge shockwave went off as hero and villain skid backwards with smiles on both their faces. Izuku took a deep breath, then released a blast of green fire out of his mouth, towards Mirako. Mirako eyes widen slightly. Seeing the fire coming towards her, she immediately hopped to the side, completely dodging the massive wave of fire. Izuku was already expecting her to dodge the initial attack. As he harnessed some electricity as a bolt of green lightning shoots out towards the hero, blasting the hero backwards as a miniature explosion went off of electronic explosion went off. As the hero was shot off into a nearby bus, Izuku extended his hand outwards as the bus was lifted up by a tornado. As the tornado turned into a flaming tornado of green fire. Izuku shut off his quirk as the bus dropped onto the street. Hirako stepped out of the bus, a bit dazed. Izuku was about to rush forward, but he was forced to block an attack from Ryuko. Izuku ducked under the fist from the dragon hero and grabbed her wrist and tossed her at the incoming Mirako that just recovered. Izuku used the brief opening to create a flashbang with a burst of his green lightning, blinding both heroes, making his escape. He didn't really want to leave in such a manner, but he's already behind schedule, and killing both of the female pro heroes would be more trouble than it's worth. If he had more time, he could probably fit it in, but he's already behind schedule. He's already expected. Doesn't want to keep his mother waiting. Oh, and there's no doubt his picture has been broadcast over the news by now, so he made his way out of the area and head to his secret laboratory that he had built for such occasions. If his villain identity was ever revealed, exposing his public identity. Sometime later, Izuku arrived in his secret laboratory that only himself and his mother even knows of his very existence. The Midoriyas had it made just in case their civilian identity was ever exposed, and it's a good thing they did. Inko walked over to her son, seeing him walk into the laboratory. As she checked him over, making sure he's not injured. I heard you had a scruffle with pretty high-ranking heroes. My dear boy, I do appreciate your worry, Mother, but you know, it would take a lot more to even hurt me. Ever since my modification. Despite your modification, a mother does worry. So, Mother, have you decided finally? Yeah, I decided, son. I'll take the procedure. I'll give you a more deep rundown what changes to your body you should be expecting. You'll be faster, stronger, more durable. Without giving you several quirks with those abilities. Just took the basics from the good old doctor, Nomu project, and perfected it in my own way. According to all my tests, the aging process will pretty much slow to a standstill, and you also gain a decent regeneration. Your body won't have a regeneration quirk. Not saying it wasn't used during the process. I just don't need it place into your body till you have that feature in your modifications. And I've done the modification to my own body, so I know what I should expect. Give me about 48 hours. I'll have everything ready to proceed with your operation. I'll smile at her son. Very well, I'll let you get to work. Inko was against this operation at first, but she slowly realized with stronger heroes appearing, and strong heroes like All Might, Mirako, turning herself into a hybrid Nomu would close the gap between herself and the stronger heroes. She couldn't be more proud of her son. She wasn't sure if she wanted him to bring, if she wanted to bring her son into this sort of lifestyle, but she's glad she did. Izuku is a natural when it comes to being a villain, and being a villain is in their blood. Her mother and her father were both villains. It's a family tradition for a Midoriya to be a villain. 48 hours later, you can see Izuku in a lab coat, wearing a scientist outfit, while Inko is wearing a skin-type medical outfit that was designed for this procedure. There's several metal round pieces around the suit that will inject needles for injections. You just need to place the tube in, connected to the metal pieces. Go stepped into the huge medical tube and put on the air breather over her face. As Izuku connects several tubes to the small round metal pieces on the suit that will give her an injection, whatever he feeds through the tube. I'll see you on the other side, Mother. The tube begins to fill up with the green liquid. Then suddenly the sedatives kick by traveling through the tubes that's connected to the suit as the needles puncture Inko's skin, injecting the sedatives as she goes into a sleep-like state. The process would be extremely painful if she was conscious the entire time, and he does not wish to cause his mother any discomfort. Izuku managed to cut the time in half by improving his methods. He saw some flaws when he turned himself into a hybrid Nomu, so Inko time in the tube will be much less compared to his own time when he first went through the process of modifying his body. 5 weeks later, as the tubes start, as the buttons near the tube begin to light up, as the electronic devices get to flicker, as the tube begins to drain slowly, Inko pulled off her air breather from her mouth when she regained consciousness, when the fluid was no longer in the tube, and walked out. Are you in any discomfort, Mother? Not at all, dear. It is the complete opposite. I feel great, stronger. It's going to definitely take me some time to get used to my new body. That is to be expected. My experience going through the same process, I believe, would be a great asset to you, so you get used to your body. My pointers should be able to lessen the time you have to train your body. Very well, son. And judging by what time it is, I highly doubt you've had a good home cooked meal while I was away, while I was disposed. Why don't you get cleaned up I'll get dressed and make you some dinner. We'll have one of our nice family dinners. Well, I can't argue with that, with a home-cooked meal. Sometime later, in the living room of the laboratory, you could see both Midoriya sitting across from each other on the table, enjoying a home-cooked meal, talking while they do so, like they do every time they have a family dinner, and that's mostly every night, if he's not on a mission, or busy otherwise. So, what's been happening here? Scratch that. So, what exactly happened when you left your building? After I killed the assassins, the two heroes appeared. I fought them for a while. I would have loved to continue the fight with the two pro heroes, but I was running out of time. And I need the heat to die down before I even attempt to resurface once again. What about your finances with your company? Everything will process nicely, even if I'm not there. The company will run as normal. By a couple of puppets I have in place in the company that will follow my direct orders. I have already made preparations. The public only will know me as the villain and the former CAO of Midoriya Enterprise. But in the shadows, I still have full control over the company. We'll use the extra income to fund our villain operations. I still don't know what exactly you have planned, Mom. How do we move forward from here? That's a good question, dear. Give me some time to think on our next move. Izuku's machine devices started to go off from his wrist. It's pretty much a advanced smartwatch that's directly connected to the laboratory itself and all of its defenses. It seems like we have a guest. The training area is to the right. Once you leave this living area, you just have to follow that. You just have to follow that hallway until you see a door. In that door, on the other side of the door is a training room designed to withstand our more physical strength, considering we are now hybrid Nomus, while I deal with our little guest. Very well. I'll start my training immediately. Have fun with your little play date. Inko walked off to find the training room. Izuku began to press a couple things on the screen that's attached to the device that's around his wrist. As you can see, as the monitor turned on in the room, as you can see a single figure in the video of the security camera outside of the entrance to his laboratory. The fact that someone found his laboratory is very concerning, so he immediately began to make his way out to greet his visitor. Still have the turrets trained on the person. Kirigiri saw the door open up. I do apologize, coming at such a late hour. My manners, I am Kirigiri. I'm a member of the League of Villains. Master has been quite interested in you and your mother. There's never been a mother and son villain duo before. It's quite intriguing. So, take it you work for this All for One, then, most likely? Bet I do, good sir. I'm quite impressed you know that much. It wasn't hard to find whispers about your master, about the League. has been going around for years now. And consider me intrigued on your reason for being here in the first place, Mr. Kirigiri. Master, all for one, would like to offer you a position in our ranks. Simply here to arrange a time and place where you can meet my master. Very interesting proposal. Give me 24 hours. By then I'll have your answer. As you wish. As a very intelligent Nomu went into a portal, as Kirigiri disappeared, Izuku walked back into his laboratory. He's not too surprised that the League of Villains reached out to him. He does have connections with many organizations, people included that crazy doctor that works for All For One. He knows his past associates' affiliation with the League. After all, they apparently have a common associate. This boss of theirs. It's no figure that the doctor might have mentioned him to All For One. He's not much of a team player, but the League of Villains is appealing to him, but he won't make any decisions until he fills in what he was told to his mother on all the details. Inka was punching some practice dummies that's in the training room. As the moment her fist made impact, the dummy shattered. When her son walked into the room, she immediately dropped her stance and took a nearby towel to wipe the sweat from her forehead. She was training very hard to get a handle of her strength, and her body is still trying to get used to the changes, so she'll occasionally have some sweat now and then. But when her body's settled, it'll be hard for her to sweat. Found controlling her strength surprisingly difficult at first, but she instantly got a handle of it. She might have been a well-known scientist, but she wasn't a slouch when it comes to conditioning her body, after all. She used to be a leader of a local street gang when she was younger. Being a scientist was a nice cover for her, but all good things come to an end, regardless if she enjoyed being a scientist and an inventor. She even had some contact with S.H.I.E.L.D. before her villain identity was exposed, so she had to go into hiding. Izuku held on a device and pulled it out of his pocket. Once he pressed a couple buttons, the monitors turn on that's on the walls, as it replays the whole footage of him meeting with the member of the League of Villains, Kirigiri. Inka watched the whole event, listening carefully of their past conversation. Your grandfather was quite an admirer of this All For One fella. How's that even possible? He would be ancient. Grandfather's been dead for at least 10 years. I don't know, he's pretty much a boogeyman of the villain world. Most people believe he's just a myth. Who knows, he might have a quirk that affects his aging process. As a fellow scientist, you would know that. You're not entirely wrong there, Mom. Quirks can do a lot of things, so I shouldn't discard it as a possibility. Hell, you're interested in his league. I cannot lie that I am indeed intrigued. I personally have my doubts about this League of Villains and this All for One. Despite that, this is a good opportunity for us. Agreed, this will give us a chance to test out our new bodies to the fullest to see what we're actually capable of. So, when will this Gary return for his answer? In 24 hours, but I want to meet this All for One beforehand. I might be intrigued, but I'm not going to walk into something I don't know all the details of before I join our little group. Things are going to get interesting when this league finally announces itself to the world. A war will be coming, Mother. You can count on that. And if things are not going to go our way, we'll cut our losses and ditch. That's my boy. You're so much like me when I was your age. I'm no fool, Mother. I have no doubt this All for One is very dangerous. A backup plan needs to be set, just in case things get messy. We time skip to the long-awaited meeting with All for One. As you can see, Izuku step out of the portal with his mother. As the mother and son duo could see someone on a chair-like throne, wearing a mask covering his entire head, giving him a very ominous look. Welcome, Midoriya. I've been keeping an eye on you two occasionally. Most impressive. You two have such two powerful villains hiding in plain sight. I suppose we should get down to business. Indeed, I do have my concerns about this. I could tell you don't trust me very much. Of course not. We're villains. I only trust one person, and that's my dearest son here. Despite my own concerns about this, my dear boy is interested in this little league of villains you have created. And who am I getting my beloved son's way? You won't have any problems with me. But we work best as a duo. Just keep that in mind. That's a reasonable condition that could be easily met, Miss Inko. Izuku stepped forward when his mother stepped backwards. As he has the floor. I have no doubt you have some master plan in mind with this league of villains. I'm fine with me needing to know on a need-to-know basis. Just keep in mind, I may be intrigued by joining this organization, but I won't tolerate any open hostility towards my dear mother. If any harm befalls her, I can't be responsible for the carnage I will bring. All for One begins to laugh. He understood immediately the underlining threat the kid just made. It was quite amusing for him. The kid has spine, intelligence, and not afraid to manipulate people to get his way. He couldn't help but like the kid. He could see a younger version of himself in him. He would have been the perfect apprentice, but he already has one, and he put too much work in his current one and his current apprentice. To our very interesting combination of villains, mother and son duo. That's definitely going to cause a lot of carnage. This will definitely be useful. Well then, welcome to the league then. I'll have you help the good old doctor, considering both of your old profession. I have no disagreements upon that, portal opened up behind them. Please, follow me. Inko and Izuku disappeared. Then they reappeared at some sort of old laboratory. I could tell you have questions, Kirigiri. You may speak. Yes, Master. I was wondering why we approached them. They're not as well known, despite what family they belong to, considering their family history. Don't underestimate them. They're quite well known. Their actions their actions in the shadows. The reason why they're not well known as other villains, because they don't leave survivors. The Midoriya has always been an old-fashioned villain family. The Midoriyas might be villains, but they follow certain rules. They're easy to predict. It's gonna be any problem when we're dealing with Midoriyas. On our side, we'll have the Midoriyas backing the League of Villains. And that boy is a monster. I could see it in his eyes. In that single moment, I could tell he wanted to kill me. It was just a glimpse of what he really is. And according to the doctor, they have encountered each other before. Apparently, he's worked with Dr. Ojiko on several occasions on his special projects. With the two scientists on his level, with two scientists on the same level of our good old doctor, would be extremely useful. And I'm quite curious on how young Tomura will interact with them. Kirigiri still has his doubts. He's just hoping that they don't kill each other. When he finally meets the young master, the laboratory, Dr. Ojiko saw Izuku. Oh, my boy, when I heard you might join the League of Villains, I was ecstatic. The things we could bring into existence make me feel 50 years younger. Ah, I see you're in good health, Miss Inko. I didn't know you knew my mother. Only on passing, my dear. She attended one of my seminars before I disappeared from the public eye. I see where you get your intelligence from. Good genetics and all that. I'm getting all giddy from excitement. The three of us working together, wonder what type of monsters we can create. Inko watched the mad scientist walk away, laughing to himself. She almost forgot how crazy he is. He might be a bit crazy, but he is a good teacher. That he is. I suppose we should follow the crazy doctor to see what he needs help with. 3 weeks has passed since they joined the League of Villains. They work closely with Dr. Ojiko on many of his projects that he calls his children. Izuku overheard the doctor talk about All For One made some sort of alliance with someone called Dark Sea. He suspected it's some sort of villain that he's never heard of. Izuku found himself back in front of All For One with a few new faces. Well, at least one new face. Boy, good you're finally here. This is Granny Goodness, one of the League's associates I recently made. It's a pleasure to meet you, my child. It's a pleasure, Miss Granny Goodness. Granny Goodness will be just fine, child. I take it I'm here for a reason. That you are. Considering this is a recent alliance, I need one of the league members to accompany Granny Goodness back to her world. World? What are you talking about? I recently found out that our planet is one of many. Has intelligent life form. Apparently, the galaxy is pretty big. Apparently, the galaxy is a big world. I suppose it is possible. We haven't really ventured into outer space, considering the military focus on their attention towards quarks, then continuing to build upon their space technology for space travel. Very well, sir. I need to contact my mother, inform her I'll be gone for a while. I'm guessing this is not going to be a short-term mission. My apologies. You're the only one that wasn't currently on a mission. Think nothing of it, boss. Izuku walked off to the side to text his mother to inform her of the situation, so she doesn't freak out. When his mother freaks out, people die. As he finally returned, everything's set on my end of things, boss. Perfect. Let's go, child. As Granny Goodness activated her boom tube, as they both stepped through it, Izuku found himself in a strange palace that looks pretty ominous, judging by the room he's in. And apparently black is a theme for this place. Follow me. Best not to keep Darkseid waiting. Be mindful of your manners. Darkseid doesn't like disrespect. You'll live longer that way. Naturally. I'll behave myself. Izuku's inner thoughts. I need to play this smart. If someone's going by a name by Darkseid, they're clearly dangerous. The name itself is very ominous, and judging by this place, I probably should be mindful. Izuku enters some sort of throne, with a gray-skinned man sitting on a throne. He saw Granny Goodness kneel to one knee, so he did the same. Leave us. As you command, Lord Darkseid. Good luck, kid. As she left the throne room with everyone else, Darkseid got up from his throne and walked past Izuku to stare down through a window that's in the throne room. So you're the one that All For One sent to me. So you are a member of this League of Villains. Indeed, Lord Darkseid. I was informed by your master that you would be quite useful in my conquest of conquering planets, but I'm not the type of person that would take someone on word value. I'll be sending you on a little test. I have a competitor that goes by Mongol. I want you to kill him. I don't like competition. Grill will fill you in on the details. And if you survive, we will talk further on your role here on Apocalypse. Word of caution, do not fail me. Failure will be adequate punished. As Darkseid's eyes glow red, Izuku getting the message as you command, Lord Darkseid. Izuku wasn't stupid enough to talk out of turn. He could tell this Darkseid is far more dangerous than even All For One. He makes All For One look like a typical Girl Scout in comparison. That's where we're going to stop it. Hope you guys have a good night and day. Judge my time zones, and I'll catch you in the next video.